Kurt Warner is getting into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and he should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He got to the Super Bowl with two different franchises, and he performed wonderfully when he got there. Let's remember this. The two Super Bowls he lost, he took the Rams on a potential game-winning drive, only to see Tom Brady get the Patriots in the field goal position and win that game in New Orleans. And then the Arizona-Pittsburgh game, he had a masterful drive for the go-ahead score, only to be upstaged by a great throw and catch in the final minute of the game to lose that one. He was that close to winning 3 Super Bowls, Brian, that close. This guy's getting in. He should get in this weekend.
He should, and he's a great story. You know, guy that made himself up from the Iowa Barnstormers, I believe, and made himself into a Hall of Fame quarterback.
He's a great story. The guy did everything right on and off the field. He's admirable, and he was a heck of a player, too. Super Bowl matchup. We'll get into that in just a moment, but of course it's been upstaged by what transpired in the game between the New England Patriots and the Indianapolis Colts surrounding balls and their relative PSI. Inflation, deflation, whatever the case may be. I don't know about you, but I'm sick of talking about it. I'm sick of hearing about it. I thought Belichick was the best he's ever been. He actually spoke, and spoke scientifically at that, which I thought was pretty interesting, Amy, when you heard him speak like that, because the guy typically tells you nothing, and he does it in a smug way. This time he actually had a very terse response. I kind of like that. I'd like to see him like that more frequently.
I tell you what I think I enjoyed the most by Bill Belichick was actually not so much what Belichick said, but the fact that the immediate response to what he said to try and detract the statement that Bill Belichick made was Bill Nye the Science Guy. The fact that we are now spending Super Bowl week talking about a debate between Bill Belichick and Bill Nye the Science Guy humors me beyond all belief. And yes, I am sick of talking about it, but at the same time, I don't think a whole lot of people care about the game.
Yeah, I mean, I love the My Cousin Vinny reference personally. It was one of my favorite movies. I couldn't possibly pass that up, Ryan. That was great. When you talk about Joe Pesci and Marissa Tomei, I mean, listen, what a great movie. What a great reference. Fantastic. I didn't know Belichick had any scope beyond football. I thought he had tunnel vision and never knew what a movie was. But, hey, you never know. Bottom line is, this is, I think, overblown from my perspective. They won the game 45-7. We're not talking about softballs. If they were that noticeable, don't you think anybody would have pointed that out or noticed it during the game?
Yeah, absolutely. And Kenny, I couldn't agree with you more about let's move on and concentrate on the Super Bowl. This is why they've played the game for the last 17, 19 weeks now, 20 weeks. And but Bill has surprised us all. He actually shows that he's got a little humanity in him. You know, he does follow things outside of his office and outside of Patriot Nation. So.
And I'm not excusing the Patriots, Ricky. They've lived in the gray area, if not crossing the line completely on many occasions. If they're wrong, they're wrong. They deserve to be punished, but it had no influence on the outcome of the game. They changed the balls for the second half. That's when the Patriots blew out the Colts. But here we are still talking about this.
Yeah, and I mean, and you get the head coach saying that he don't know anything about it. You know, you got to take his word on that. But I do think the quarterback knew the second half that the ball might have been a little different. But, you know, a lot of things that go on, you can't really put on the head coach. And this one that, you know, he have no bearing on the head coach on this one.
Yeah, whether you like him or not, I agree with you.
Kenny, the only thing that I'll add that I feel like is that if indeed the Patriots are found to have taken part in some kind of conspiracy here after the Super Bowl, they will be dealt with very harshly.
Yes.
Okay, they'll be dealt with. But let's hope that they can sweep this thing quickly.
And one of the reasons they'll be dealt with harshly is because it's piling on, much like what happened with the Saints. The Saints was a cumulative effect of many things over the years that the NFL was not happy about, in my estimation. All right, so the matchup itself. Let's talk about the game.
Yeah.
How about that? That's really what this is all about. The New England Patriots, the Seattle Seahawks, coming up Sunday. Two best teams in the league, no question about it. Brady, the first quarterback to start 6 Super Bowls. Seahawks, well, they're sinking the repeat to be the first team to do so, Amy, since a decade ago by, ironically, the New England Patriots.
I like the Patriots in this game. I think that in terms of everything, minus the distractions that they have definitely had to deal with this past week, looking at them on the field, I think that everything that is necessary to be the winner in this game they've got. I mean, no taking anything away from Seattle and the fact of how good that they have played, especially down the stretch of the regular season when they needed to perform that they did. But frankly, in this particular situation, as good as Seattle is, I think New England's better. I'm taking New England.
All right, let's take a look at when the Patriots have the ball, Brian, and what we can expect from this New England offense against the Seattle defense. All right, so the total yards, well, you see where you're at. Patriots offense 11, and their rushing yards 18, passing yards 9. Points, though, that's what matters. Patriots getting it done, but look at that up against the Seattle defense. They're number 1 in the league against points, and number 1 against rushing yards, number 1 against total yards. What a classic matchup this is. You have a great offense in the Patriots, a great defense in the Seahawks. Something's got to give.
Yeah, and I'm a firm believer, always have been that defense wins championships, and Seattle has been there all along for the last 2 years. They've had one of the great defenses of our time, and I suspect they're going to play that way again Sunday. To me, you've got Belichick, who's a masterful coach. You give him 2 weeks to prepare for anybody, and he's normally out-coaches the other coach. But don't dismiss, don't second guess Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's a pretty good coach. Ricky, you know that. And we'll see what happens. But I'm not ready to pick yet. I'm not, even at this late stage, I'm not ready to pick.
Well, you know, he always stays in the middle. Brian he always straddled the fence. I'll put it like that. But I like the Patriots in this game for one reason. Last week, I've seen a lot of stuff that Seattle let happen to them that I think the Patriots are going to expose. And the quarterback, I mean, he only got together the last, overtime where he threw the ball pretty well. So I like the Patriots in this game.
Brian Alley Walsh, president of the Republican Party. All right, so let's take a look at when the Seattle Seahawks have the football, because their offense is not chopped liver either. They're awfully good. And you look at the numbers, total yards, Seattle's 9th. They're first, though, in rushing yards. Big stat. 27th in passing yards. That number is a bit deceiving. We'll get into that. Points scored, they're 10th. Of course, the Patriots on the flip side, average against the total yardage number, but then they get better again in the points category, which matters, and against the run. So, Amy, when you look at this matchup, Seattle runs the ball very well. The Patriots are good against the run. I think Seattle has to be able to run it well, obviously, to set up their play action and Russell Wilson. But that said, I think the flip side is even more important. I think the Patriots have to run the ball in Seattle to win the game.
I think that they do as well, but frankly, I think that with Blount, that they are going to do it, and they're going to do it very well. Flipping over, though, Marshawn Lynch has had a tremendous season. The one thing about him is that we have seen in those games, though, that when they have been able to shut Lynch down, the Seattle Seahawks have struggled mightily in putting everything on Russell Wilson's shoulders. And I think that that will be the game plan, is to go ahead, try and take Lynch out of the game, make sure they stop him at the line, and force Wilson to throw it, and force him to win the game.
Brian, the Patriots are as good as anybody at making you drive the field. They'll play deep, too deep, and they'll try to confuse you underneath. They'll spy Wilson. You know they will. So this is a team that while they've been, they don't break. And they've got to get Lynch going in Seattle. If they don't get Lynch going, they're not going to win this game.
You know, if you go back to the NFC Championship game, Marshawn Lynch was getting his yards. They didn't start scoring points until Russell started running the zone reads. And when he got it going, that opened everything up. So I think Russell, more so than just being able to throw the ball downfield, they're going to have to open up the running game with Russell, okay, running the zone option, okay? Marshawn's going to get his yards. New England's has shown that they're capable of giving up yards to backs. I don't think Marshawn's necessarily going to be the person that wins the game for them. I think Russell Wilson, how he plays, is going to determine whether or not Seattle's going to win.
Well, I mean, I like the way he run the ball, Lynch, but Wilson is their caliber.
Yeah.
I mean, they go by what he do. Just like you can see in overtime, how he made 2 great throws. And you can see the difference in the team whenever he operates well. But, he struggled the whole ball game.
Yes, he did. No doubt about it.
And Green Bay kind of let him off the hook, just like Ken was saying about the topic we had about the scoring on the when overtime. They got the first shot at the overtime and never did get Green Bay the ball back again. So that's the rule that we was debating about early in the season.
Well, you can continue to debate that rule in the offseason. Meanwhile, Seattle's playing for a world championship.
Well, in the modern era, 18 quarterbacks in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, 14 of those have led their teams to Super Bowls. 28 of 48 Super Bowl champions, multiple Super Bowl championship quarterbacks, and they are all Hall of Fame quarterbacks either now or to be. Goes without saying. So keep an eye on that. That's going to transpire. Of course, we're here at Premier Nissan of Metairie, where the deals are great. Sports NOLA TV is brought to you today by Premier Nissan, Louisiana's #1 Nissan dealer, and where 100% satisfaction is their goal. Premier Nissan of Metairie is proud to offer dealer discounts on the 2015 Altima 2.5 and the 2015 Nissan Versa. Also, dealer discount and bonus cash back on the 2014 Maxima S. Don't forget Premier's money-back guarantee on new and pre-owned vehicles. Visit Premier Nissan of Metairie, 6636 Veterans Boulevard in Metairie. Go to premiernissan.net. Back to talk about the Family Feud. Richard Dawson's not in the house, but we are on Sports NOLA TV.